3 testing. New Gold in the house with an awesome student as well that's actually been a part of this in the past. Alright, so we're doing this video for you for the phase shift homework assignment, which is due next time. And then we'll do the practice test, so make sure you watch both videos and check your answers. Okay, so for this one, we're going to focus more on what the phase shift is and a little bit of graphing it, but just focusing more on what it is. So when you go on the test, probably won't ask you to phase shift graph it, we'll see, probably not. But what we'll have you do is just fill in the blank on the test. Okay? So then what we already did in class today is, here we go, and if you want to help me out, my assistant, you can help me fill in these blanks. Because we can actually do 1, 2, 3, the amplitude, period, midline, phase shift, all from just the equation. Nailed it! You're going to like this. Once you get into it, watch this video, you'll get it. So what do you think the amplitude is? Number, yep,
2.
For number 1, it is. It's that number right there, right? It's 2. We'll jump down to the midline. What do you think the midline is?
0. There's nothing there.
Yeah, nothing there. Over here, let's jump to number 2 for a second. The midline would be -1. But over here, because there's nothing there, the midline's 0. Cool, not too bad. And then, let's see here. So then the period, right? So then the period has to do with that x right there, that x right here, and that x right here. Now, I don't see any numbers next to those x's, so that means they're just the number 1, right?
No.
So number 1, but the period is what we're talking about, not the number in the x. So what do you think? What do you think the period would be, Austin? What's your guess?
It'd be 2 pi.
2 pi, that's correct. Now, just using the formula, it's going to be divided by the number 1. Is where I came up with 1. And so if I draw a red one right here, and then I draw a red one right there, those are what I'm talking about when we match up things. So if this is a number 2, then we put a 2 down here.
Yeah.
And then 2 divided by 2 would just be pi. But as of right now, just 2 pi on those ones. So 2 pi there, same thing, sine of x there, just 1, so just 2 pi there. So that wasn't too bad. And then, just a 1 there for the amplitude, right? 1 there for the cosine. Now let's talk about the phase shift. That's something new, right, you guys? Something new. We talked about it a little bit in class. So the phase shift is, ready for this? Okay, so the phase shift is going to be this, right? So if I was going to do this in letters, I would say like, for example, I've seen someone do it this way. So we would go sine with letters, we'd go sine of bx, so the number next to the x, and then plus whatever the number is there, call it a. And so then the phase shift is going to be then, so write this down in your homework, you guys. Okay, so the phase shift is all you're going to have to write down on the day of the test next time. So the phase shift is just the a value, right? It's going to be the absolute of the a value, so make it positive, divided by the b value. And that, my friends, is the phase shift. So for our example, for number 1, we're going to take that negative pi, we're going to write it down here, negative pi, and we're going to take the absolute value of it. Ooh, is it the absolute value, Mr. Newbold? I think it's the opposite is what I put on my guided notes for you guys for last time. So yeah, so let's change that. I don't know why we like absolute value so much. So we're going to go ahead and say it's not necessarily the absolute value. We're just going to say it's the opposite sine of a. Sorry about that. The opposite sine of a, and then that's going to be divided by b. So in our case, for number 1, let's do a few of these, you'll get it. So negative pi, so instead of being a negative pi now, we're going to change it to a positive pi, right? And then divided by the b value, which is right there, which is just a positive 1. So we'll divide it by a positive 1, so the phase shift is just pi, positive pi. Okay, so then we've got also positive 1 over there, and then we have a positive pi, we've got to change the sign. So what do you think would be the phase shift for number 2?
It would be negative pi.
Yeah. So just negative pi over 1 or just negative pi? Cool. What do you think the phase shift, tricky now? Well, not too tricky. What do you think the phase shift might be for number 3?
It'd be positive pi over Positive pi?
Yeah, so positive pi over, so we want to take this whole value like this, right, like this, and we want to go ahead and, first let me fix my poor system performance. We're supposed to be getting new computers soon. Oh, I thought it was going to let me change to the basic color scheme for Windows. Or not. That's okay. So we're going to take our positive pi over 2, right? Our negative pi over 2, rather. So we're going to take our negative pi. We're going to change the sign and make it a positive pi over 2. Change the sign. And then we're going to go ahead and divide by the value that's in front of the x, which is just 1. So for number 3, the phase shift is pi over 2. And then I think we forgot to finish off number 3. I think we forgot the midline. What's the midline there?
Positive 2.
Positive 2. Nailed it. Okay, so then... what was that? No, it's okay. Okay, so excelente. Okay, so let's jump to 4, 5, and 6. I think we're going to have to multiply that through first is what we're going to have to do to understand number 4, 5, and 6. So if you want to, on number 4, we're going to take that negative cosine, and all I'm going to do is distribute that negative, or that positive a half through. So now we're going to get negative cosine of a positive 1/2, and then an x, and then a plus. We're going to have to multiply there, what, a half? So we're going to have to multiply, I'm going to do it over here. We're going to have to multiply that half times the pi over 2. Right? Because we're multiplying the half to the x and multiplying the half to the pi over 2. And so when we multiply those together, what do you think we get? Any guesses?
It'll just be pi over 4.
Yeah, just pi over 4. Nailed it. Cool, just pi over 4. Now, the reason why I think that it didn't get distributed through, we'll see in a second actually, this will be kind of cool. So first let's go to the amplitude. So I think the amplitude, I don't know, I think on the test I'm not going to grade whether if you put positive or negative. Because really the amplitude is that number up and that number down, isn't it? So what's our amplitude on this one?
Amplitude, would our amplitude just be 1/2?
So our amplitude...
No, it'd just be a negative 1.
Yeah, just be that negative 1 right there. And so really, if I put a negative or positive 1, really that's what the amplitude is in my mind. I think our guided notes said positive 1. Always make positive, but yeah, because it's a positive 1 up and a positive 1 down is the amplitude. So really that's fine either way. I won't mark down for the sign on that one. And then the midline, what's the midline?
The midline, there's 0, it would be 0.
Yeah, just plus 0. There's nothing there for the midline. It's just the x-axis. And then, so now let's take a look at this. So the period is with the x, isn't it?
1/2.
Yeah, so we have the 1/2. However, we do have to do something above that.
Do you have the cosine?
So we have to do a certain value. It's this value divided by half. Do you remember what the regular cosine sine period is? The full unit circle.
1, 0, negative 1, 0, 1.
Yeah, those are the 5 numbers. That's for when we graph it. But just looking at the period, what's the full circle? So 360 degrees is a full circle. But how much is a full circle in radians?
2.
Yeah, 2 pi, right? Yeah, so we're going to take that 1/2 value. We're going to put it in the bottom. And we're going to put 2 pi in the top. That's very formula based. So maybe I'll make the 2 pi red. And the reason why I'm making the 2 pi red is because that's the formula there. 2 pi divided by b is really what the formula is. 2 pi divided by b, where this right there is your b value, the 1/2. So that's our b value there. Cool. So then that, when you do in your calculator, 2 divided by 0.5, you'll get 4. And so then we'll just call that 4 pi is the period. Okay, so then the phase shift, right? So then the phase shift has to do with this value, the pi over 2. But really, we multiplied the half through, so it's really this value right here. Cool. So we're going to take pi over 4 and write that down as our phase shift. That's the first step. Write it down, pi over 4. Now, what do we have to do? Right now it's a positive pi over 4. What do we?
That's the opposite.
So it's the opposite sign, right?
Yeah, so it's got to be negative
So
3.
we're going to make it a negative pi over 4. Cool. Make it a negative pi over 4. And then there's one more step then.
Divided by 1/2.
And then divided by the a value or the b value. That's right. In fact, why don't we go up to that formula and did we already call it b or not? Let me see.
Yeah, it said the opposite sign of a.
Yeah, we already called it b. Good. A divided by b, right? Opposite sign of a divided by b. Good. So I'm going to go back here to number 4. And then, like we said, it's negative pi over 4. And then negative pi over 4. And then divided by, like you said, divided by this value right here. So divided by half. Okay? So you can do that on your calculator. You can push pi off to the side. And you can do 1/4. So put the times there. Divided by 1/2. And so if we do that in our calculator, I think we're going to end up flipping it. Flip and multiply. So we'll end up with, let's see here, so 2 over 1. And then multiply this by 2 over 1. Those cancel. And then multiply straight across. So we get 2 pi over 4, which just reduces to pi over 2. Cool. So our answer for the phase shift is just pi over 2.
Negative pi, right?
Oh, negative pi over 2. Good job, Up. Good job. So negative pi over 2 is our final answer there for the phase shift. And so for the test, I think I didn't see any on there that you actually had to graph a phase shift. And maybe I can talk about it if we have time at the end or maybe on the practice test. But so all you'd be doing is that negative pi over 2 for this cosine. You'd end up, instead of like starting at cosine like this and going down and up again, you'd end up like starting at negative. Watch this. I'm going to go back one. You basically shift the whole graph back one to negative pi over 2. So it's basically, usually you're right here. I'm just describing this to you guys so you know. But basically what you're doing there is you're just shifting it back negative pi over 2, your phase shift. So that's really what you're doing, but I won't make you do it on the test.
Wouldn't just be fine? Because if it's negative pi over 2 and you flip and multiply, you just get 2 pi over 2 and those cancel out, so you just get negative pi.
Okay, so that's if we are dividing that by a half.
And isn't that what we are?
We did it with pi over 4 is what we did it with. And so we got negative pi over 4 from this up here, positive pi over 4.
Alright.
And then once we got that we turned it to negative pi over 4, then we divided it by the b value, which is a half.
Oh, okay.
And when we divided that one by a half, that's why we got the negative pi over 2.
Alright.
Yeah. Cool. So then we'll jet through these pretty fast, see if you guys can follow along. Maybe pause. Yeah, pause me for a second. Pause. Wait. You didn't push pause, but I'm paused. Yeah, so pause it for a second. And I'm going to run through these really fast, and then you can go through and check your answers. So running through these really fast here, the amplitude is 3. Cool. The period on number 5 is 2 pi divided by that 2x, which is multiplying it through there. That's 2. So that period should just be a pi. Good. Did you get that? And then the midline is 0. And now the phase shift, so tricky here, let's multiply that 2x through, so 2x. And then I think minus, and we're going to have to multiply the 2 through. So 2 times 3 pi over 2 is going to be 2 times 3 pi over 2. The 2's are just going to cancel. So just leaving us with a parentheses 3 sine of 2x minus 3 pi only. So that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. Ooh, let me be over there in 1 second. All done? One more time, okay. That's okay, we'll get you there. Maybe I'll have you take some notes, or I'm not sure. They just said to keep taking it. So we'll be over there to put that password in there for a second. So the phase shift now is going to be off of the equation, which we just figured out, is 3 sine, multiply the 2 through, so 2x. Then the 2's cancel because we're still distributing that 2 through. So 3 minus 3 pi, and then plus 0 is your midline there. So then the phase shift is actually going to be, wait for it, it's going to be a positive 3 pi, cool, because it is negative, we're going to change it to positive 3 pi, divided by that b value there, so divided by 2. So phase shift is just 3 pi divided by 2. Number 6, there is no amp showing, so 1. The midline is 0. The phase shift is going to be 2 pi divided by a half. Right? 2 pi divided by this number, a half. And that's just going to give us 4 pi when you do that on your calculator. Good job, Cooper. Memorized it. And then we have the phase shift is going to be, make it a positive pi over 2, right? Make it a positive pi over 2. And then divide that by a half. And so we're taking this number, and then we're dividing it by this number is what we're dividing it by. And so we'll flip that. We get 2 over 1. 2 over 1. Those go away. Just leaving us with 2 pi over 2, which is just pi. Okay, so for that, is that one layer then there yet? Okay, excelente. Then just to give you guys, because we're going to rush through and jump to the practice test next. If you want to check your answers, I'm going to go ahead and show them up here. So you run through, pause it, finish it up, test yourself, see if you're ready for the test. And then I'm just going to go ahead and flash these answers. Yep, that's what we got so far. Good. Phase shift was pi, negative pi, positive. Yep, positive pi over 2. Good. Okay, and here's the ones we just did. Let's see if we were right there. Excelente. Amp was 1, mid was 0. And then, yep, the period was 4 pi. And the phase shift we got was pi over 2. Yep, 3 pi over 2. Yep, negative pi over 2. We're doing good, doing good. Okay, so going to pause it. Don't look yet. Don't look. Stop looking. Finish it first. Not going to help you in the test if you don't finish it first. Okay, so finish that first. Pause me. Okay, so here's 7, 8, and 9 to check your answers there. Okay, there you go. So, yep, the amp was 1. The midline was 0. No midline there. And then the period was 2 pi divided by 1/3 gives us 6 pi. Let's see here. Flip 3 over 1. Oh, just 6 pi. We'll ignore this part. Not sure where that came from. Oh, that's how much you break up into your 4 sections. So just 6 pi there. And then the phase shift is just going to be a negative pi. Oh, yep, right there. Negative pi divided by 1. The number next there. Positive pi. Good. 4 pi 0, 2. Good. Amp is 1. Good. 0. 4 pi. Good. And then a negative pi. Good. Not too bad there. Good, good, good. Number 10, 11, and 12, our last ones on this assignment. All right, do it first. Don't look. Stop looking. Do it first, then check your answers there. Okay, so we have an amp of just positive 2. I think negative 2 wouldn't make me upset, because it does go positive 2 upwards and from there, and then it does do negative 2 downwards. I guess by the history of math, we're supposed to say that the amp is always a positive number. Okay, so if you're taking any tests in the future, always make the amp positive 2. You see it's always positive on all these answers here. Okay, so the amp is positive 3, and this is positive 1/2. The midline is at 0. Good. Midline here is also 0. Midline here is also 0 on all 3 of them. The period is pi. The phase shift is just positive pi now. Remember, it's going to be a positive pi, the opposite sign. This is going to be a negative pi over 2. And then this one, ooh, I don't think there is a phase shift, is there? Let's take a look. So the phase shift is just 0. Did you get that? Or take a look at there for number 12. The phase shift is just 0 because there was no like x plus pi or pi over 2. Yeah, there's none there. So that means since there's just a big fat 0 there, then our phase, our PS, our phase shift is just 0 for number 12. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool, cool. Alright, so we'll come back to do the practice test video next. So thanks for watching. We'll turn that in next time. Thanks for using the resources. Ta-ta for now. Oh, make sure you look at the next video. Watch.